He was born in a cave, hidden from the world, hidden from his own father, because his father, the king of all things, had decided that this child must never exist. Not out of hatred, out of terror. And the most dangerous thing in the universe is a king who is afraid. We already know what Cronos did. We watched him swallow 5 children, 5 lights extinguished before they could shine. But this episode is not about what Cronos did. It is about why. Why a being of such power could be so consumed by fear. Why the most brilliant ruler of the Golden Age became a father who devoured his own children. And how, in trying to stop one prophecy, he wrote an even darker one. Because the story of Cronos is not a villain story. It is a tragedy. And tragedies always begin with a single, understandable mistake. Go back, before the swallowing, before the fear. Go back to the moment Cronos first held power in his hands. He had defeated the sky, freed his siblings, ended the age of Uranus, and the world looked at him, this youngest, sharpest, most daring of the Titans, and bowed. For a while it was enough. He ruled beside Rhea, gentle and steady as the mountains. He watched the Golden Age unfold across the earth, humans thriving, nature abundant, the world at peace. He had everything. And then Rhea told him she was pregnant, and something in Cronos shifted. Not joy, not pride, something older, something colder. He remembered his father's voice, cracked and bleeding across a wounded sky. One of your own children will do to you what you have done to me. He had dismissed it then. He could not dismiss it now. Understand what it means to carry a prophecy you cannot disprove. There is no way to know if it is true. There is no way to know when it will arrive. It simply lives inside you, a splinter behind the eye, a stone in the chest, and every time you look at the thing you love most, you see the thing that might destroy you. Cronos was not a stupid being. He was the opposite, sharp, strategic, always 3 steps ahead. And he reasoned his way to the only conclusion his fear could reach. If the child never rises, the prophecy cannot be fulfilled. If the child never grows, I am safe. If the child never exists in the world at all, then I win. It was a perfect plan. It was also the plan of a man who is already lost. Because the moment you start protecting your power instead of using it, the moment you stop building and start hoarding, you have already begun the fall. But here is what the story almost never tells you. Cronos loved Rhea, and swallowing his children cost him something he could never get back. Hestia came first, the goddess of the hearth, of home, of the sacred fire at the center of all living things. She arrived in the world small and warm and bright, and Cronos took her from Rhea's arms and swallowed her. Rhea's cry was the first sound of grief the young world had ever heard. Then Demeter, the earth's abundance, the harvest, the turning of the seasons, gone. Then Hera, queen of heaven, fierce and proud even at the moment of her birth, gone. Then Hades, lord of the deep and the silent places, dark-eyed and still, gone. Then Poseidon, the sea itself in a child's form, restless and enormous even before he could speak, gone. 5 children, 5 pieces of the world's future, alive inside their father, untouched but unreachable. And Rhea stood in the ruins of her joy and looked at the being she had loved, and understood that the man she married was gone too. Not dead, not cruel for pleasure's sake, but hollow in a way that nothing could fill. Because every child he swallowed made him more afraid, not less. Every act of control only deepened the terror it was meant to cure. This is how fear works. You feed it what you love, and it only grows hungrier. When Rhea fell pregnant for the 6th time, she made a decision. Not a desperate one, not a panicked one, a quiet one. The quietest decisions are always the most dangerous. Rhea went to Gaia, to the earth herself, to her own mother, and she said, "I cannot do this again." Gaia listened. She had felt this before. She knew the shape of this grief. She had carried it herself, all those years with Uranus pressing her children back into her body. Mother to mother, earth to earth, Gaia told Rhea exactly what to do. When the time came, Rhea traveled far from the palace of the Titans, to the island of Crete, green and wild and ancient, to a cave deep within Mount Ida, where no eye of Cronos could reach. And there, in the dark and the quiet, she gave birth to her 6th child, a boy. She held him. She memorized his face, his weight, his warmth, the sound of his first breath filling the cave. Then she wrapped a stone, found on the ground of that cave, rough and cold and ordinary, in the same swaddling cloth she had used for all the others. She carried it back. She walked into the throne room. She stood before Cronos, king of all things, ruler of the golden age, and she placed the wrapped bundle in his hands. He looked at it. He did not unwrap it. He did not hesitate. He swallowed it whole. He handed the cloth back to Rhea. He returned to his throne. And Rhea walked out of that room, and she did not look back. Because on Crete, in the cave on Mount Ida, something was happening. The Curetes, divine warriors loyal to the earth, surrounded the cave and clashed their bronze spears against their shields. The sound was enormous, constant, a wall of noise between the child and the world, so that if he cried, no one would hear. So that if Cronos listened, and he always listened, he would hear nothing. Nymphs brought honey. A divine goat named Amalthea gave her milk. The earth itself was nursing this child, hiding him, feeding him, raising him in the one place his father could not reach. And the child grew. This is the moment the whole story has been building to. Not the stone, not the birth, not the plan. This. Cronos swallowed a stone, the king of the world, the being who had held a sickle against the sky, the ruler whose cold intelligence had shaped an entire golden age. He swallowed a stone wrapped in cloth and called it done. Why? Because he needed to believe it. Because the alternative, that the prophecy was unstoppable, that his children would always be born, that no act of control could hold back what was coming, was too unbearable to sit with. So when Rhea handed him the bundle, he chose not to look. This is the true heart of the story. Not the sickle, not the swallowing, not the war that is coming. The heart of this story is a king who could have known, who had every reason to check, who chose not to, because knowing would have meant confronting what he feared. And so the most powerful being in the world was defeated not by strength, not by strategy, not by a greater army or a sharper weapon, but by the one thing no amount of power can protect you from: the lie you tell yourself. Zeus grew on Crete, strong, fast, burning. Every day that passed, the stone inside Cronos sat cold and still and silent. Every day that passed, the real child grew closer to what he would become. The prophecy was not a curse from outside, It was a mirror. It showed Cronos exactly who he was, a being so afraid of losing power that he destroyed everything he was supposed to protect. And in doing so, he raised a son who had nothing to lose. A son with no throne to protect, no golden age to fear for, no children inside him pressing to get out. Just clarity, just purpose, just the cold memory of a mother who wrapped a stone in cloth and walked into a throne room alone. Cronos thought he was stopping the prophecy. He was writing it, word by word, child by child, stone by stone. He was writing it himself. In the next story, Zeus is no longer a child. He returns to the palace of the Titans, not as a prisoner, not as a servant, but as a plan already in motion. 5 siblings trapped inside a king. 1 herb, 1 cup, 1 moment of perfect precision. And then, the longest war the world had ever seen. 10 years, heaven against heaven, Titan against Olympian, until the earth cracked, until the sea boiled, until even the stars were shaken from their paths. The Titanomachy is coming, and Zeus has been waiting a very long time. Stay with us.